far.
That extra gear, the first 3 steps.
Huge strides in the performance.
That I might not be the player I am today.
All right, welcome to another episode of Behind the Gear, and today we have the pleasure of sitting with the wonderful, the great Travis Konecny, property of the Philadelphia Flyers. How you doing, Trav?
Good.
How's the summer going? How's the offseason going?
It's good.
Yeah?
Flew by again.
Yeah, it was crazy. Eh?
Oh, yeah.
It's insane. Seems like you just get done, even if you don't make playoffs. I know it seems like it gets long. I know by the end you're kind of itching to get back at it and stuff, but it's crazy. Even for us, like, I'm like, when September hit, I was like, are you kidding me right now? It's already September.
It's not. And even like stuff, fishing, golfing, I still feel like I didn't do enough. Like I'm waiting for it to start again next summer. You know what I mean? It's like, it just feels like it's gone by so fast.
Yeah, I know, it's nuts, man. As far, I know you obviously we get into training and stuff like that as well, but what are some of the other things that you kind of like really enjoy about the off season? Like what are some things that kind of, when you're looking at the season, obviously the season, we'll get into the season a little bit as we chat, but it's a grind, it's up highs, lows, all that kind of stuff. But you get, you get done, you get to the off season. What are some things that you kind of really look forward to as far as just change of pace?
I think for me, it's a lot different than most. Like I think a lot of guys come back and, it's going out with their buddies and, I still like to go for beers with buddies and that kind of thing. But for me, it's just relaxing and being out on my boat and, spending 3-4 hours with kind of nobody, me, my girlfriend, my parents, brother, just things like that. I just like to do because you don't get those opportunities in the wintertime. And some players have that actually advantage to do those things in Florida or wherever they are on their off days. But
sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I take advantage of just kind of doing the things that I never get to do.
No, totally. Now, would you classify yourself as like a full on redneck? Or a hick, or just like half? What would you say?
I don't know. I think, my brother kind of calls me city slicker now, but I know for sure I'm not. He just hasn't left the farm yet. But I don't know. I mean, I still do a lot of things that I did as a kid, and if I was to, my girlfriend's from the city, so I do half the things I do, and she's looking at me like I don't know who this guy is because I'm hunting and fishing and. It's kind of offside for most people, right? So
yeah. Well, it's I think if you didn't grow up doing it though, it's so
you don't understand it. You look at it as it's bad, right? When it's like food on the table for me, and you know what I mean. It's like I look at it as a great barbecue meal coming up.
Yeah. Well, and plus, like you don't make that much money, so you need to get that fish on the barbecue from the water.
Stay out of the grocery store.
But I mean, obviously, you spent a lot of time on the boat, right? And I remember talking to Mitch, who's obviously your strength coach, and chatted with him. He's like, man, I got to get him to bring food on the boat. He goes on the boat for like 5 hours, doesn't eat.
Nothing.
And then he's just begged.
He hates it. Yeah, cool. Because I know he's probably hungry when he was out there with me, but most importantly, he wants me to be like eating properly and stuff. But I just get lost out there. I can't eat. Like I'm just watching rods and there's no tanning or tubing or anything. It's like strictly like fishing time,
Real fun boat if you don't like fishing.
Yeah, people hate it. My mom's like once a summer.
Yeah, that's it, right? How many hours on average would one fishing trip take? Like, I guess it depends on what you catch, right? But if you're
and who I go with too,
right?
So
on average, what would you spend out there, like on one trip, like one day? Let's say you jump in the boat, you're gonna go out. How long?
If it's just like me and my brother, say six man limit, so 6 pickerel guy, it'd probably take us, an hour to 2 hours. But if we got like 3-4 guys out there, it could be like 6 hours. Really? We're just like, cause you can catch pickerel, then you can sort pickerel when you look for bigger ones, or if you just want eaters, you keep a lot of the medium sized ones. And then there's a limit of 5 rainbows a guy. Mm-hmm. And those are hard to come by. So you just search for those for like 3-4 hours, just driving around.
Love it.
Yeah. But they're fun.
Oh, that's cool. And then obviously the other thing that I think that you end up doing a lot of is golfing, right? Yeah. Which is, now did you golf as a young guy? So when you're like 10, 11, 12, when you're, kind of playing your minor hockey, were you into golf at all, or was something you picked up a little bit?
Not really. It was more or less, old set of clubs from my dad and just like learned on YouTube. And obviously I grew up on the farm. So I could actually hit driver from my house to my grandparents. It was like perfect, like 250 to like 280 would actually land in the yard. So we would take driver and hit across the field, and then we actually had like a 6-hole or 9-hole golf course with like actual like sticks, beer cans as flags, and like you could play.
Yeah,
so that's kind of how I learned how to play. And
not a redneck at all.
Well, that part of it maybe.
beer cans. Yeah, hit over to grandma. So we're gonna go hit uncle's place and then
just house to house.
Clacking.
Oh man.
Yeah, Clacking, Ontario. Look that up.
Yeah,
look it up.
it's
a place. It's an actual place.
Where it's at.
Yeah. But you talked about this a little bit earlier, which I think is really important, but kind of getting away from the rink a little bit, then coming home, being around family and friends that don't really care if you play in the NHL, don't really care if you're a firefighter, whatever, plumber, doesn't matter, right? And I think how important is that for you just to kind of be yourself and come back? And not that you're not yourself, but there's times where you're meeting booster clubs or you're meeting owners or there's different things going on where you gotta be a little bit different, obviously, but just coming home and kind of being yourself. How important is that for you just to kind of recharge?
Oh, it's awesome. And even, just having those different conversations that you normally have, right? And say I was to be going out and having beers in Philly, you gotta be cautious of, even what you're saying, what you're doing, what your actions. There's people, cameras, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. So it's just nice to come home and be able to relax and just have fun. And, we have a party with my parents every summer, and just to be able to just cut loose and have fun with them and not worry about anything else. There's no cameras out in Clacking either. So, you know what I mean? It's just
like
no
internet out there.
Yeah. So everything's different, like conversation.
Yeah.
What I do on my off days is even different. So it's just nice to come back and do stuff.
Are there days in the summer where you may not even touch your cell phone all day?
Oh yeah. I don't have social media. I get big trouble from my mom all the time, like my girlfriend, my brother. I just don't answer. Like right now I'll let you know. I probably have, 40 unread messages. And I just opened a bunch this morning too. So it's just like, and it's not anything like I mean doing it. It's just, I don't want to be on it. You know what I mean? So I put it away when I get in the house. And then if I hear it ring, I'll go look at it later. But
And that question was more for like those parents of young kids where like some of these young kids can't get off the device. They're just hooked to it, right?
Yeah.
But it's also one of those things that just like do other, like enjoy life a bit. Like go talk to people, go walk around, go golf, go do things. Like even on the golf course, like put your phone in your bag.
Yeah. Don't even bring it. 4 hours in the car,
of no phone unless there's anything urgent that you need to get to. But otherwise, they'll find a way to get a hold of you.
Oh yeah. Even like the other weekend, I was down at the boat launch with my parents, and like we were having a bonfire. Instead of sitting around and like sitting on my phone, we're playing like these weird yard games that like I played as a kid.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, who else would do this anymore? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
no, for sure.
They'd be taking videos to show their friends what we're playing or whatever,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is so different now, man. Like I grew up in an era where we didn't even have cell phones. Like everyone had landlines, which is, if we went out and played and your mom couldn't find you, she'd call your buddy's house. Hey, Mike, is Dwayne there? Like it was, and now, as everything's so accessible, and to your point, like everything's recorded. Like everyone wants to have that cool video of them playing whatever, or them doing something, and I think it's nice sometimes to just go back to just being the boys,
Yeah.
We had, this was a while ago, because I'm not that old, but no, I had my 40th, and we were a bunch of guys. My wife actually set the whole thing up. It was unbelievable. So like buddies came in from like college, and it was unreal. It ended up being 12 of us, and we were all there, and I think we took one picture of all of us at a table, and then I can't remember who it was, but like, hey boys, phones away. Like, that's it. And like it was just conversation, and it was awesome. Like we had a good night. It was a lot of fun, but it was just going back to like just being like catching up stories. It was awesome. Like it kind of went back to like that old school, you meet your boys and no one's on a device. No one's, now you go to restaurants, it's crazy, right? You see whole families, like all 5 of them are on devices, or a couple having dinner and they're all
just hammering away on the phone.
Yeah.
Well, to me, things that get me is, being in like a big sporting event and playing in big arenas and seeing all this stuff. I can't believe how many people are videotaping. Like I look behind the bench and they're videotaping the game or videotaping warm up, and it's like, you're going to miss the game because you're trying to record the game. You know what I mean? Instead of you paid to get in to watch it, like instead of watching it, you're showing people you're there, I don't know.
No, it's for sure. And I mean, most like if you see a Leafs game or a Philly game, and check it out and like check the hashtags on Twitter or whatever, you'll see a shit ton of video. Of
pictures,
just people
like
there,
this, that. Oh yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy. Everything's got to be documented, man. You gotta know what guys are doing every step of the way. But you got a good crew here as well. So aside from family and stuff, obviously you got a lot of good buddies that you played with growing up, and some good guys that obviously train with and skate with. And how important is that to come back in the summers? I know there's probably an opportunity to stay in Philly or go somewhere else where another buddy's training or whatever's going on. But, coming back, living in kind of a smaller town and being close to the water and then having the kind of a good crew of guys around, like how important is that for you to kind of have that environment to be, to be able to train in and be around, and then obviously have your kind of away time when you can get away a little bit as well?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, especially this summer, we had Vandy here, we had Law here, and that's like a big crew for us to come back together again, because we've went to school here forever, and to reconnect, and even just driving in every morning with somebody like a buddy just to relax, kick back. You're not thinking, it's small things that you wouldn't think about, but it makes all the difference when you come back to, kind of somewhere you're familiar with all old buddies. And, I know for me, they're all hockey buddies. It's not like I have a lot of buddies outside, but it's just how I grew up with all the hockey guys. Right. Yeah. So I don't know. It's been really, really, really good. Yeah. And I know most guys don't have that. A lot of guys have to move to find the good gym, or
totally, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're making new buddies, and then their other buddies from home are visiting. Well, I'm kind of lucky, I'm here with all my good buddies, and we're all doing the same thing.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of, it's cool to be around like-minded people, right? That have kind of that same goal of trying to get a pro contract or trying to get to the NHL, or already there and want to stay.
And we all push each other, right? It's like
100%.
It's a friendship, but also like, I see Vandy, he's lifting this much on the squat rack. So I'm a little bothered by it. I'm rooting him on, but I'm also a little sour about it. Krauser, he doesn't miss any days in the gym, and then he misses a random Thursday, because he, whatever, was up having beers last night. I'm on him, you know what I mean? Because I'm in. Why can't you be in?
Yeah.
So it's just
for sure.
It's just little things that a lot of people wouldn't recognize that, and they
even
have.
And even those days like when you don't want to come in, and that happens to everybody.
Yeah.
But there's days you get up, you're like, man, I don't want, but I got to pick up Boone, or I got to pick up somebody.
Or Law's honking in my driveway.
Right,
I'm like,
hey,
man, like if he's here, like I have to go.
Yeah. Yeah. You've already texted him and said, hey, like, I want to pass
I'm not
today.
coming, and he's in my driveway.
Yeah, exactly. But I think even for young guys coming up, it's like, and you were fortunate, you played with some guys that were pretty motivated and pretty into it and wanted to play in the O or play in that next level.
Yeah.
But for young kids, finding a couple of kids that are good kids, staying out of trouble, doing the right things, and that are kind of pushing that way. I mean, it's huge, right? To help guys kind of get on track and stay on track.
I mean, and for me too, I don't think it's about finding them. It's just kind of, they just weed themselves out, you know? Like I didn't necessarily find Vandy or Law. Like it just, it just happened. Like we're on the ice, and he's doing better than me at one thing that I can't do. And it's, it makes me mad. And so then I can do something he can't do. It makes him mad. So then you kind of realize you're helping each other. And then there's the odd guy who just doesn't care. It's like, okay, well, you're out.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
like,
for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it's
totally.
not, you just got to realize who's pushing you, and they're probably looking at you the same way.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of gravitate to those guys a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Over time.
Yeah.
But a guy like Mitch Vandesomp, like Vandy, we were just talking about, I mean, obviously going to camp again. What are those kind of parting words like for him, or Lawson Krause when those guys are leaving? Or is it, is it kind of, hey, good luck, or hey, man, you look good this summer? Is there a lot of like, kind of encouragement, keeping kind of an eye on how they're doing or how they're going to do?
Yeah. I mean, we keep in touch a lot. Like I said, I'm not on that phone a lot, but we text, maybe every 2 weeks, couple times a month, just to check in on each other. But as you're heading out, it's just, you don't have to kind of give them the confidence, good luck. You already know they put everything into it. And it's more or less just stay in touch and, do your thing. Hope you get your opportunity.
No, for sure. Now obviously third year in the NHL, coming in your fourth year, which is huge. Played at a young age. When you look back at when you were like in 19, when you first got in the league, and kind of being green, obviously, right?
Oh,
and just probably a little bit of swagger that maybe you didn't need to have. But if you look at yourself then to now, even, and you're still young, obviously, but do you see a lot of major differences on just how you go to camp or how you approach it?
It's actually funny you mentioned that, because I was just laying in bed the other morning thinking about like coming in and what I wanted to work on and stuff. And I was laughing, thinking of myself, because I was watching these clips that were on YouTube of me. It's somebody like had told me to watch this clip of my first year. And I was laughing about like some of the stuff that I was doing and trying. And I was like, I can't believe like that was even allowed to happen. Like now I know why I was benched so many times. You know what I mean? Like, it's just funny to see how much like you change. And, I mean, even now, like I'm still trying, and I was laughing, thinking again, like I know now I feel really good at where I'm at and some of the moves I can make and whatever, but in 3 years from now, I'll probably look back and say, what were you thinking in your fourth year? That's not going to work.
Yeah,
So
no,
it's
for sure.
I don't know. It's funny. It's just
Yeah.
constantly changing, but it's definitely a big difference from year 1 to like
It's crazy, right?
year
Like,
4. Like
yeah.
even year 1 to 2 to
Yeah.
like every single year is something
Yeah.
different. But
How different was it coming in? Like, obviously, as a 19-year-old, you wanted to make it and you were driven to make it, and that was your goal. Realistically, for a lot of guys, like, I mean, it's going to be hard to make this team, right?
oh yeah,
But when you go in and obviously, you end up making that team, I'm sure most of it's just a bit of a blur as far as, getting that, hey, you're here, hey, look
Yeah.
for a house or whatever's going on, right?
yeah.
How different was going into that first camp to the second camp? So when you went into your second year, like how different was that as far as just, or even your third camp? Like if you look at last year, like were you way more confident, kind of knew what to expect, a little bit more,
Yeah.
polished as far as, how to approach things, how to deal with things?
I'd say my second year, so when I was going into my second season, that camp, I was actually still pretty nervous because I'd only, I put up 11 goals, which is good for a rookie, but there was also rookies that had made it the same year I did that like just dummied the league, made it
Right.
look pretty easy. So like,
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, I got a long ways to go. And
Yeah.
like, I still have no guarantee that I'm on the team. I could have a bad camp and somebody that, there's guys in the program that are in Philly that I know that are capable of, taking spots at any
Right. moment
moment that are down in the A. So I was, pretty concerned coming in. Like I wasn't up on my high horse. I still knew I had to put in a lot of work to make it. But then my third year was a little different. Like I kind of knew that I had, earned my spot on the team. And then it wasn't about worrying about, coming in and impressing. It was more about like the off ice numbers and like showing them, I put in my work. I'm not like, just assuming I have my position. It was like, I'm going to prove to them. Like I came in, I put all the work in, even though I know I have my spot on the
Sure.
team, I'm still,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It wasn't so much
totally.
about going out on the ice and being like, hey, I'm still good at shooting the puck. I can score off the wing. Look, it was more like the in the gym stuff
Yeah.
to show them like I'm not just along for the ride because I made the team.
And sometimes too, like, you feel like for you on that, it's like, I'm a pro. Like I'm working hard in the summer. I'm getting ready. I'm ready for the season. Like
Yeah.
on that side of it, do you feel like as far as the game, you're not so concerned about getting a spot? You got a spot now, but now it's
Yeah.
like, how can I do really well at that spot? Like, how can I put up numbers? How can I help
Yeah.
the team? Like now you're more of I'm one of the guys that maybe is a top 9 guy, top 6
Yeah.
guy and they're relying on, like it's kind of shifts your mind
It
a little
does.
bit, right?
And it even shifts you from like, how can I go from, okay, now I have my spot on the team. Now, how do I go from here to here? Like how,
Yeah.
and then stay in the top 6 and not drop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like changes that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm in a pretty good spot with the guys I have too. They hold you accountable. Like Coots and G, I've had the privilege of playing with those guys
Yeah.
and like they're pretty honest. So like I know the things like I need to do to
Right.
get better
Yeah.
because they do it. They tell me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Each summer is different. Like I come back with a different vibe. And
Yeah.
I mean, last summer I came in my third year, I thought I was going to really show them that I earned everything and I was going to work hard. But then I felt like sometimes like I almost trained too hard in the gym and I should have put a little more on the ice kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, for sure.
So then I learned now this summer, I kind of balanced that out and now I skated with you guys more. And, now that I'm into the last couple weeks of summer, like I'm not doing as much training as I normally would. And
Yeah.
I'm doing ice. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Every summer is different.
But it's also finding kind of what works for you well, right? Like
Yeah.
for
Some
you as
guys
a pro,
need
yeah.
ice only. Some guys need gym only.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you said, 3 years is a long time, but it's not a long time compared to like Crosby.
Sure.
All these guys have had 10 years and they know what works.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. You kind of tweak along the way and figure out what works best for you. Definitely. And, if you look at kind of when you came in and you've had a couple of kind of core guys there in Philly that have been awesome, obviously for a while, but was there anybody that really kind of surprised you when you first got in there as far as just being a good leader, like being one of those older guys that kind of like was nice to the young guys? Cause you know what it's like, especially coming out of junior, sometimes you get the vets that are just over the top, like super vets and you got beating, getting on top of rookies and just hammering them. When you got to, that next level playing in the NHL, did you find, were there guys you kind of looked up to like, oh man, this guy's like just making me feel more comfortable, or guys who were just more accepting and just kind of like helped you kind of get acclimated a little bit?
Well, there's the obvious ones that are like the captains. They're, they should be the way they are because that's what, that's why they're captains.
Kind of expected, right?
Yeah. But then there's guys, for example, like Radko Gudas, sad to see him go, over to Washington. I don't know how I feel about that, but
heads up.
Yeah. He was one of those guys, you know, like just always made the young guys feel comfortable, invites to dinner, you know, joking around at the rink. He's got like a goofy kid personality, but like very serious when it comes to like taking care of himself.
Yeah.
So like you try to be more like those guys, and I don't know, it just makes it more fun when you can come into the rink and have a little fun with some of the older guys. You feel like you're kind of in, you know what I mean?
Oh,
it sounds silly.
No,
it sounds like high school, but you still want to be accepted. You know, you don't want to be the young kid who's just bouncing around the rink, which I know I was, and everyone was probably annoyed. But I think it's fading, you know, a little bit as we go on.
Probably
but
not.
Yeah, they're probably, I'll be a kid forever.
Yeah. But you know, I was talking about this with some other guys too. Like the one thing we all talk about, you know, your job is to be an NHL player, which is unbelievable. And oh man, I'd give my left arm to do that. But it does have its stresses. It does have its like complications. It does have its mental stuff where you're like, you know, you go in a slump or you have, you know, tough times. But even just walking into a locker room at 19 years old. So if anyone doesn't play hockey, just picture this. You walk into a locker room at 19, you've got 20, 30, 35-year-old players. Some of them have families, kids. Pretty much all of them are in shape.
Yeah.
They're big, they're strong, they're men, you know, like a lot of them. So you got that whole thing, like, man, is my body even good enough to play in this league? Like, look how small my arms are compared to whoever, right? You just so there's all these other things that come into play, and now not only that, like now you got to go on the ice and prove that you're worthy of playing with this group or that you can make this team. And so I think even mentally, like going in, you know, and I know you're a competitive guy and you've got a bit of like an FU mentality where you're just like, that's my puck. I'm going to go get my puck, which I think you need to have a little bit, right? But I mean, how intimidating is that when you're going in there and you're meeting guys like Giroux? He was probably one of your guys,
TV, right?
Yeah, or you had him on NHL and you were playing him. Like he was one of your guys on your team. Like you look at that guy, you just played like you were on my fantasy team, and you know, and you're sitting there like, oh man, these guys I'm sitting next in the locker room. Like, what's that like? You know,
it's hard to describe, like you said, but like kind of one of the ways I look at it is like imagine you were in school with your friends for, you know, till grade 5, and then you had to skip and go to grade 8 for a year. You don't know anybody. They're all older. They're gonna, you know what I mean? You're in a very uncomfortable situation, and you don't know what the grade 8s are all about. You don't know. So that's kind of how you feel when you're jumping from junior into the NHL, and there's kids that are me, Patty, all these kids. They look at us, right? Like some of them have teenage boys. You know what I mean? So it's like very intimidating going in there. But you just got to be a sponge and just literally soak it up and have fun because they've all been in the same spot.
Totally.
Maybe not all of them. Some are late bloomers, but you just got to know, soak it up. Don't be starstruck because it'll happen for the first couple of games. Like I'm playing with Voracek and Sean Couturier in my first NHL game, and I didn't even know how to react. I'm shooting on Jonathan Quick coming down the wing, and I'm like, you know what I mean? It's like all these things, and you got to soak it up, have fun, let the starstruck kind of happen, you know, but like don't let it take over kind of your game, but just, enjoy it. That's what I did. And I don't care like who looks at, if someone says, you know, oh, they're just a hockey player, I don't care. It's like, no, you dreamed of being there,
for sure.
You know, and now I'm buddies with G, and I wouldn't give him any credit now, you know, it's like one of the guys who gives me a hard time. So, but, it's definitely cool. And it's like, even guys coming in this year, I know they're going to be nervous. And, you know, for me as a young guy, I have to be one of the guys to tell them, hey, it's okay. Like, it's crazy, right? You're in the NHL. Yeah. That is G. Go say hi to him.
It's nuts, man.
Totally. I know, it's kind of cool, but
I mean, even for you, like to recognize that a little bit now, but like you're kind of that bumper right now, as far as like helping those guys migrate in from the young guys, old guys, making them feel comfortable. And I think it's important for, I know, players as they get older to realize or remember that, man, I was that young kid, really nervous, like didn't know what to say, made some dumb decisions. I stepped on Drew's pad his skate pad by accident. And no one touched it. Like, you know, you do dumb things, just kind of sit in your box and just wait for somebody to tell you to do something. But guys like you that are kind of in that middle now, and even as you get older, just, hey, how you doing? I'm Travis Konecny. Like, no shit, you're Travis Konecny. Like, I know exactly, you know, they all know who you are, but hey, how you doing? Like, it's, that to me is like two things. It shows the professionalism of that young athlete like yourself or whoever's doing it. And also what a breath of fresh air for this young kid who has no idea, like, you know, just trying to get his feet wet. And, you know, some guy come like Drew or whoever, you come up and say, hey, All right, buddy. Like, no problem. Just grab some tape. Laces are over there. Whatever you need.
Exactly.
You know,
You're so scared to even get out of your seat and walk to get tape because you're like, oh, everyone's looking at me. You know, it's just stupid stuff.
It's so true.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny to look at it that way because like you look back and it happened to everybody.
100%. And whether you're playing, you know, even like you're that young kid who first, you know, maybe in Bantam you make AAA. Like I was that young kid in Bantam, I made AAA, and I was like, all the other guys played AAA. I was nervous. I didn't know what to do. And then you go through junior like that. You go through college like that, pro, like, you know, whatever level it is, you're going to go through that where you're like, I'm the young guy, I'm the new guy, you know, or new girl. And it's like, oh man, it's tough.
It's crazy.
What were some of your biggest fanboy moments? Like, do you have any good fanboy moments where you like maybe playing against somebody, you're like, oh man, that's so-and-so or whatever.
I think my first big one was probably obviously like when I played Crosby, I was pretty excited about that. But like, I was never like a super hockey guy growing up, but still like I was obviously into hockey and like I knew what he's accomplished and everything. So playing against him was pretty cool. Yeah. You know, now I wouldn't give him that credit just because he's one of the biggest rivals that we have. Kopitar, my first game was huge. That was like another big one. But the funny thing is it happened like almost for the first 2 weeks of the season. It was like every team we played against, I'm like, oh my God, that's
right.
So-and-so. And I'm getting a chance. My first year, I got a good opportunity to play on the top 2 lines for a little bit. So like I'm matching these guys. I'm like looking over and, you know, somebody's saying, hey man, good luck tonight. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Did he just say something to me? Like, what do I say?
How are the wife and kids?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's funny. It just happens kind of constantly for the first bit. And then, you know, all of a sudden that guy runs you through the wall and now you're pissed. It's like, okay, you're not so cool anymore. It's game on. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it slowly drifts away.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's got to be something that's at first is just like kind of almost not a body experience, but just a little bit like, where am I right now?
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? I was just playing junior 6 months ago, and now I'm sitting here
it's crazy.
Lining up against this guy, you know?
Yeah.
Now moving forward, as far as like, you know, going into your years and kind of get a little bit more established and things like that, you know, expectations for you, like going through the summer, are there a lot of times where you're thinking about, okay, next year, man, I want to, you know, not necessarily like this number, but I want to be 100% steady top 6. I want to play, you know, I want to like, there's goals that you have set as far as just like, I want to establish myself even more, you know?
Oh yeah. I mean, even like you said though, like the stats wise too, like I still, you know, a lot of guys say, oh, I don't worry about that. Like, you know, I just want the team to do well. And obviously every player on the team wants their team to do good. And the better the team does, the more successful you're going to do as an individual. But I mean, you're lying if you don't have individual goals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so, you know, obviously I'm going into next season thinking I came off 2 years at 24 goals. I want to crack that. You know what I mean? If I can better that, then I'm happy. If I can hit 50 points, I'm happy. Yeah. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be satisfied if I hit 50, you know, I'd be 3 points more than last year. You train to be
for sure
way better than the year before. So, I mean, I have goals to just, you know, get past those numbers and and obviously team wise, we want to go a little farther than we have in the past 3 years. So.
Yeah, maybe, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's honesty to say that. And I think you're right. I think every single player that plays in the NHL, 99, unless you're a shutdown D that, you know, gets 3 points a year, I get it.
Yeah.
Right. But there's something that they want to beat. They want to beat their plus minus, or they want to beat whatever it is. Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's important even for young kids to have personal goals, to have goals that, if I got 10 goals last year, I want to try to get 11 or 12 or 15. Right. And be realistic with them. Cause you're, you know, saying, you know, I got 12 goals, I want to get 50. Well, that's going to be tough.
Yeah.
You may be stretching it, but being realistic about those goals. And then, you know, I think it is important. It keeps guys motivated too. And I think it's one of those things that at the end of the day makes all of us better.
Yeah.
Get those goals. You're pushing for those goals and being prepared, like, you know, doing the correct off ice stuff, getting in front of the right skills coach or whatever you got to do that way to help, you know, your skill set get better. Right. And I think, you know, for guys like yourself that are kind of playing in the NHL, I mean, your margins for getting better are so small. So when you come back in the summer, you know, and I know kind of this answer, but there are a couple of things in the summer where you're like, I got to get better at this. There's these one or two things. Like, I just really feel like, you know, this is something I want to really focus on this summer.
Yeah. You know, like there's, I've probably known for one of the worst one-timers in the league. Like NHL player who can't hit a one-timer. Like it's not
that bad.
It's not
that
terrible,
bad. No.
but I mean, if you look at some of the other guys that can hit the puck,
But put it this way, I've seen a lot better and I've seen a lot worse.
Yeah.
So you're not that bad.
oh man,
But I mean, like even if you look back like a couple years ago, I mean, that's something that, to me that's gotten way better.
oh yeah,
You know,
I mean,
and-
it has to.
Yeah.
because I've probably missed like 10 goals over the past 3 years that have just been open backdoor one-timers that I just can't hit. So
Yeah.
like, it
Just
has to
just
get better.
haunting You, eh?
Oh, they kill me. But I mean, there's other things now that, every year I come back with something new, whether it's a goal that I saw G score or Jake score or whoever, like moves that I was like, oh, wow, where did that come from? So now I bring that back and I try to implement it into my game. How can I do that move, but with my speed and on the right wing? And, there's just so many things now that like I know how to play the game, I know how to skate, I know how to shoot. It's just trying to figure out how to fool the other guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's so
totally.
It's so detailed now. It doesn't come down to like, okay, I'm going to come down and shoot short side and score. Like before I do that, I have to somehow get the D to fall for something so I can get that opportunity.
Yeah, totally.
So I don't know. I've been working a lot on just little fakes and,
Yeah. Would you agree that like when you look at the high end guys, the high end skill guys in the league, right? So overall, no matter what team you're playing, those top 2-3 guys on each team, would you agree that like for most of them, that deceptiveness is massive?
it's huge.
Like how they sell stuff, how they fake guys, how they just throw eyes one way, cut the other way, like all those, like that's one thing I noticed over the last 10 years and how much that's changed, and just guys working on it obviously, but just how they can pull it off at high speeds and how they're able to add that deception and then create lanes.
Well,
create
it's
space.
like, to me, it's like, well, in my opinion, the top 3 guys, 2 guys on every team, I think are ahead of everybody else in the NHL. And obviously, like they have more skill and they're, good at doing certain things. But I think like technically in the way they fake and they do things, they're actually ahead of everybody else. So say, for example, Kucherov, he's lighting up the NHL right now. He's obviously got skill through the roof, but there's something that he's done that no one else has done yet. And I think it's like the little fakes that he throws every time he touches the puck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He pauses, fakes, and no one does that. You think you get the puck, you go. He like fakes, slows the game down, and then his skill takes over. So it's just little things like that every top guy does that I think like everyone else is behind and they're just ahead of the game.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting because I agree with you. I think there's like, even look at a guy like Crosby, obviously, but how good he is in that 5-foot area. But look at his stick. Look how he plays his body.
Crazy.
Look how he,
and like you can't even practice that. He's thought of that on his own. He's thought of like that tip on the side of the net that him and Letang do. And like, no, I'm sure that's happened before. It's just kind of one of those fluke things that's happened. You were there and went in, but he actually knows like that works and I'm going to run that play. But who would ever run that play to stand 5 feet off the side of the net and try to chip one top cheese,
Yeah.
So, I mean, just guys like that are so much more in advance than, I think it's on everybody else. Like, for me or, Sanny or Patty, all these guys like below G and Jake and JVR and Coots, like it's our job to like try to figure out, those things that they're already thinking of.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's
to keep up. It's crazy to
I
think
love
about
it,
that
man.
way.
No, it's
but
good because I think you're right. I think you're bang on. I think it's, you look at those good players and like, for instance, that one tip from Crosby, well, it didn't maybe it did happen by accident, but tell me he hasn't done 1,000, 15,000 reps. I don't know. It could be anywhere in between
just
that.
because he thought, hey, this might work.
Totally.
I'm going to try it.
And even tipping pucks, like that's one thing that we try to hammer a little bit more in the last little bit.
Yeah.
With guys with just like drive-by tips, confronting the puck. So skating out towards the puck and tipping it on the way out to the point almost. Like, man, that you could pick up another 3 to 5 goals a year just by being good around the net.
One of the best guys I've ever seen was Braden Shen, and he would come flying through like on the power play. And I know you could say he played on one of the best power plays in the league with G and Jake and Ghost, like and Simmer.
Yeah.
But like, there's obviously a reason he scored so many goals, and he was so different. The slot guy normally just sits there, but he was like moving around,
right?
And the puck would come flying through, and he'd come out of nowhere and like tip it on the way skating through, and like it just something that no one else did, and he scored easily 30 goals like every year, and he probably had 10 or 15 on the power play.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And
right?
it's just something that no one else did. And
Yeah.
he had it down.
Yeah.
But it's like those good players though, like they do it every year. So even next year, you know, I know Braden Shen does that. He'll have something else.
Yeah.
You know, I know he moves through the slot, so you go to do that, but then he's doing something else that he's worked on.
Yeah.
It's just
But it's
constant,
evolving.
Right? That's
right?
why they're so good.
Totally.
They just keep,
Yeah.
you know, what can I fool everyone with this year?
Yeah. And even with, I think even like, okay, we're talking about the top end guys, right? But even if you look at like your third, fourth line guy who maybe is picking up rims off the wall, working on that, which sucks. And he's working on that. And then his move is to back right into the D and get his hips and his butt into that D so he can make a play. Like it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like we're thinking like crazy high school stuff, but it could be anything, right? Of just
even chipping it out.
Right. Just getting good at going off your backhand or going off your forehand or high flipping pucks. Like that's another skill you see a lot now.
Everything.
With D, right? Just high flipping pucks over forwards or high flipping pucks over D so guys can shag them down. But I agree. I think just finding that little area of your game that you can get better at and then continue evolving it.
Yeah.
So now the next thing is getting your feet moving right after it or slowing it down and not in a fake or, you know, little things like that. I think it's cool. But looking at the high end guys like that, I think it's cool. Like they do something that's a little bit different than the other guys and they're good at it.
Yeah. Cause the way I look at it too is there's so many guys with the skill. Obviously there's guys that can do things with the puck like McDavid. Like I could never stick handle a puck the way he can. But I mean, it's not like he, you know, I still have some skill too. You know what I mean? But he's just thought of these things that no one else thought of.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That's all it is.
And I mean, guys like him come in, you know, every once in a while with like that kind of a bit of a package where they got good hands, their speed's a little bit insane, like they're really good. And their lateral movements are good. He throws a lot of guys off with like a quick cross and cutting back and things like that. And obviously, you know, his vision and how he sees the game is good. But now, is there anybody that stands out to you that maybe, you know, maybe not one of those top end guys, but there was like a guy that was real hard to play against, someone that you're just like, man, he does not necessarily everything right, but he's just a solid player, you know, kind of impacts games, whether it's body or chirping or fighting or whatever it is, but it doesn't have to be any of the high end guys. But there are guys that you think of that are just like kind of maybe even surprise you a little bit. Like this guy's way better than I thought.
Yeah. It's hard to put a name on it. Cause like there's a lot of guys like that I find like,
well, like even a guy like Simmons.
Well, Simmer. Yeah.
But I mean, like you watch him play it in like night in, night out, you're like, he's good.
Yeah.
Like, he is good. But I think like I had a chance to be on the ice with him in the summer and I was like, he just does little things right. And he also like the way he was with the other guys on the ice. Yeah. It was all, he just kept these guys accountable. Kind of like you said with Philly. Right? Oh yeah. But you go to the line and be like, you got to make that pass.
Yeah.
Kid's like, okay.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, Mr. Simmons. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But it was, I was really impressed with him. I was like, man, this is like.
Well, that's one of the guys, right? A lot of people just say he played on that power play too. And he just tipped pucks in front of the net. Well, no, like there's, you know, he might've scored a bunch of goals in the power play, but you look at his 5-on-5 too. He scored a lot of goals 5-on-5 and, you know, he does a lot of other things that, you know, help G or Coots or Jake to do those plays. You know what I mean? It's like he's one of those guys that are fit perfectly with anybody because he does all the little things right. Yeah. And then a lot of the higher end skill guys get to do their thing because Simmer's doing everything right. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like
for sure. Yeah.
Just one of those players that just fits in perfectly with whoever you put him with.
And I mean, you can answer this better than I can, but he makes the right play. Where sometimes you play with guys that are really skilled and they kind of like, you don't know what they're going to do with the puck.
No, so that's true.
No idea.
You know, Simmer, if he's pressured, chip out.
Yeah. And if
you know
open,
where it's going,
you're getting hit. Like you're going to get hit with the puck. Like,
yeah.
You know, like, so you kind of know how to play with guys like that, which is so refreshing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you play with high end guys, you're like, I have no idea
where do I go? Where do I go?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just
for sure.
Yeah, just doing circles.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there anybody else kind of in that mindset or in that kind of frame that you played against? You're like, man, this guy is better than I thought, or this guy has got add something to the game that I wouldn't have caught if I wasn't playing against him.
I mean, I think one of the players that's so like underestimated is that Kreider on New York.
Yes. Flies.
He flies around and everyone's like, oh, he just scores. He gets a bunch of breakaways. But like, I mean, he's a really good player. Yeah. You know what I mean? He does a lot of things right. And I don't think he gets a lot of credit for, you know, how good he actually is.
He's big too, right?
He's huge. Like he's a tank. He's like his physical side is his hands, everything. Like you can't just put up that many goals because you're fast.
Right.
So he's one of those guys that like surprises you game in and game out. It's like, wow, he's actually, you know, he's a really good player and no one else gives him the credit for it. He's just, you know, he's the fast guy. Just watch out for him.
Yeah, I know, totally. And I think a lot of times when fans are watching or, outsiders are watching the NHL and we love the game and we're looking at the game, like I say, as a fan, it is hard to score 10, 15 goals in the NHL.
Oh yeah.
Right. And people don't really realize it. Like,
It's
in
crazy.
2 games. Like that's scoring like once every 3-4 games. That's not like, that's hard, man. Now we look
Really
at
hard.
guys like Gretzky and these guys are scoring a lot, but those are few and far between. But man, like when you see guys like Kreider's putting up decent goals, obviously,
Yeah.
and points, it's like,
Oh
it's
yeah.
not by accident.
No.
you know?
And another guy that sticks out to me is Lindbaum on our team.
Yeah.
Like people knock him, he's slow. People knock him for whatever. But he is one of like the smartest players I've ever seen
Really,
in my
eh?
life.
Yeah.
And he does everything right in the game. He will not, if he messes up once, it's like, oh, noticeable. Like, wow, he
Yeah.
messed up. If I mess up, everyone's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's so smart at how he plays the
Yeah.
game. And he's just always in the right spots, always chipping pucks out. He's not fast, but somehow he's always gets the puck out of the corner.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
thinking I'm one of the fastest guys in the ice. I should always get that puck.
Yeah.
But how come Oscar always gets the puck and he's just his stick and his body? And
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You gotta watch. It's
Yeah, I
pretty
will. I'll keep
impressive.
an eye
He's
for
so
sure. Yeah.
smart how he
Because
plays
those
the
are
game.
guys sometimes that go under the radar.
Yeah.
Like they're good, but like you don't really notice them. They just make the good right plays, and sometimes you don't see a lot. You just see like he's good, consistent, he's solid, and then when you do actually watch him, like oh man, like one guy I got 2 guys during the playoffs this year that I got super kind of into was Krug, who obviously everyone knows who he is for Boston, but the way he go back on pucks, man, he every time fake, feet, and the guys would move a bit, he gone.
Yeah.
And he would wheel pucks out, like hardly ever pass him, just wheel him, move him, wheel him, move him. And it was impressive. And the other one was McKinnon. Like I didn't get a chance to watch Colorado a ton.
Yeah.
And then when they were playing Calgary, I watched a lot of the games and I was
He's a special player.
Man, I was blown away just out of how fast and explosive he was. And
Yeah.
I mean, talk about maybe overhandling the puck at times, but he loves to chop
he knows it too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But man, I was impressed. It was just like, I knew he was good.
The thing that
obviously, but
blows me away about him is, I think there's a lot of guys that could probably lift the same numbers as him and squat and do all that stuff and skate similar as him. But I don't know how he is so powerful when like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
let's say Vandy, for example, he could probably squat or
Yeah.
deadlift just as much as him, but how does he skate that
Yeah.
fast? That's what I don't understand.
No, it's true. And he's like, when he's going from a stop or a cut, like if he's just like, you watch those first 3-4 steps, it's like, he's full speed.
Yeah. It's not like Vandy skates wrong or
No.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. He's
Yeah.
special, that guy.
No, for sure. And the way he turns over on pucks when he's shooting in stride, like he'll turn a puck over the blue line and 3 strides, he's at the top of the circle shooting in stride. And just like that was so fast, man. It's crazy. But yeah, you kind of gain a new appreciation when you start. Like if you ever, for any of the fans out there that watch hockey, like zone in on a guy or two for a shift or two and just watch what they do. And sometimes you're just blown away by how insane it is. Like it's super
crazy.
cool. Yeah, for sure. Listen, I'm not going to keep you long. Couple quick little rapid fires here. But if you had to go back, I think I've asked you this question before too, but now being a little bit older, if you had to go back and look at kind of yourself at like 15, 16, kind of through that junior when you're kind of getting into it, are there any things that you tell yourself then from now, whether it's attitude, whether it's confidence, whether it's skills, but just be like, buddy, like if we are this is going to help you later on, meaning like if you ever get a chance to play in the NHL, you're 15 right now, but if you focus on this and this, and this, like, this is going to help you. Not necessarily going to make it, but this is going to help you. Is there anything that kind of sticks out to you that, any advice you'd give?
Yeah. I mean, one for me, the big thing for me when I was younger was sleep.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah.
That's one thing. Like, obviously there's like the noticeable, like the partying and this and that. And just like, it sucks at the time. And, your buddies are like, talking about girls and this and that, and you miss the party. That's awful, but it's hard when you're 15, 16 to understand.
Yeah.
You're really young and everyone's starting to get into that like out scene to skip on that. But as far as like sleep, like I can't remember the amount of times like Law and I or my brother were up till 2, 3 in the morning. We got a tournament the next day.
Right.
Or I'm in junior, I'm playing in the OHL and I'm going to bed at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
on a road city somewhere, and you don't realize it because you're like, oh, I'm young, I'll be good.
But and a lot of that wasn't like partying or like that, right?
No.
It was just like just watching TV or
hanging out,
talking
watching
or
movies.
whatever.
You're in somebody's room, hanging out, playing cards. That's all the fun stuff, and you can do all that. Till 12.
Yeah.
But like, I really, really regret being like, we have back to back to back. We have a 3 and 3, and I'm up every night till 3 a.m. and then
Just
I'm dead tired.
Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I know I still did fine in junior, but I think people don't realize how much junior like affects like the next step, and how many people watch junior hockey,
Right.
you know, scouts and this, you know what I mean? You go into Barrie on a Sunday, you've already played 2 games. You're like, oh, I'm dead. Like, I've had a long weekend. We were up late last night. I'm shutting her down today. And then somebody's there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's one thing.
Totally. Yeah.
I wouldn't say, I mean, eating was a big thing for me too. I was terrible with that. I would have changed that.
Yeah.
But as far as like hockey stuff, I think I would have did the exact same thing I did as far as training, because I trained pretty early.
Yeah.
And I think that helped me a lot. I think a lot of kids should take that.
Training. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At a younger age, I don't think necessarily like doing lifting and this and that, but even just quick feet drills and little things like that. I don't know.
No, it's great. You know what, man? I think the food and the sleep is massive. Like, do you think you had a great career, obviously, and you know what, up to this point, you know, and junior, you know, in those tough years type thing. But do you think you would have put up more numbers, been a better player if you dialed in your sleep and dialed in nutrition a little bit?
I do think that I could have had better numbers. Like, I don't ever want to be the guy that like goes to a restaurant and, you know, because these guys drive me nuts when it's like, oh, you know, I do you have the certain burger? It's like, dude, have a burger.
What kind of oil is in that?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, I would never be that guy, but you know, just to
like pick a salad over fries.
Exactly, right? Something small that doesn't really affect anybody else, and you know, instead of having McDonald's breakfast wrap every day, heading to the rink, just get up, make breakfast. It's not that hard, but all these little things that you don't want to do, I think would have helped me.
No, I think it's great, man. I think for young kids too, like to your point, like, oh, I'm just hanging out with my buddies. We're playing board games till 3 a.m. or playing video games till 3 a.m. What's the big deal? That catches up to you, and the sleep at the young ages, especially, is so important for development and everything. Like,
oh yeah.
And if you are playing high level, I mean, whether it's Bantam, midget, junior, whatever it is, like, man, that sleep is massive.
Huge. But I mean, I'm not saying don't do that.
For sure.
You know what I mean? But it doesn't have to be like on a random Tuesday when you got practice on Wednesday.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's no point. Like, I understand, sure, weekends you don't have a game the next day. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I'm all for, you know, beers, but you don't need the 6-pack on Tuesday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just these things that that I wish that you know, you're young and being dumb. But, and I'm not saying I would have put up 50 more points. Yeah. I'm saying it would have gave me a little bit more of an edge.
Yeah, for sure. It's good. Well, listen, buddy, thanks a lot for popping by, and pumped for you. I'm excited to see this season. I think you've had a good off season, and maybe I'm biased, but no, you look good on the ice, and we're super pumped to get the season on the way and get you to camp and get you going.
Yeah, I know. Let's get going.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
All right.